Hello. What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It is the day after Super Tuesday 2. Bernie Sanders has taken yet another crippling defeat at the hands of none other than Joe Biden. In fact, I was just scrolling through my Twitter feed and I saw a comment. I said something along the lines of, man, it looks like Joe Biden is going to cost the DNC establishment the nomination. Wrong. I was wrong. But I was only wrong because at the time, the magical moment hadn't happened just yet. And that magical moment was, of course, the phone call behind closed doors where the DNC establishment said, listen, let's just all fall in line behind Joe Biden and let's run the table. And that is exactly what happened. It's something that I've been signaling for quite some time. I said they had no chance unless this particular moment occurred, and it did. In fact, I want you guys to take a look at this clip, late night from Seth Meyers, because this is dated February 24th, right? February 24th. At that moment, Joe Biden left. I won't say left for DED because I don't want to. I don't want the algorithm to go crazy, but it wasn't looking good, right? Check this out. Check this out, because hindsight, man. Let's see, desktop, boom, here we go.
And not only did some pundits insist that Bernie wasn't actually the frontrunner after winning the first two states, they also created an elaborate mythology in their heads where Bernie was only winning because the so-called moderates were supposedly splitting the vote. And they kept insisting that if the moderates would just coalesce around one candidate, that candidate could beat Bernie.
Bernie Sanders may have eked out the most votes in Iowa and New Hampshire. But if you look at the numbers more closely, it shows a candidate hitting a ceiling. If you look at the combined percentages among the centrist candidates, they do much better than the progressives.
When you add up the totals, though, for Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, and Joe Biden, when you add them up last night, that's more than half the electorate backing a moderate.
Buttigieg and Klobuchar and Biden split the moderate vote, with their combined percentage overwhelming that of Sanders, who got 26%.
That's right. If you just combine the votes of Buttigieg, Biden, and Klobuchar, you can beat Bernie. Now, all you have to do is find a way to genetically combine them into one candidate called the Klobu-Buttigieg.
Who's laughing now? You see, this isn't a new conversation. Everything I've been saying over the last few weeks, I've just been repeating myself. I'm not saying anything new. I don't have to. You know, I've consistently looked at the data, and it was all a very, very clear picture. We're going to talk about Andrew Yang rallying the party in just a moment. But first, I just want to set this thing up by reminding everyone that this series of events was very well expected, assuming that moment, that key moment, actually happens. So the idea that the establishment is colluding, yeah, that was always going to happen. The problem was never, can you beat the establishment? The problem is you figuring out how you're going to get those voters who you're not speaking to. See, Bernie Sanders has consistently locked down this 18 to 30-year-old vote, and that's exactly what we see. The problem in the videos that I've dropped more recently, they don't show up. They don't show up in large enough numbers for you to actually win. What was happening before was that we had a very weak field. I'm sticking by that weak field where people just were all over the place. Some people wanted a woman, so they just said, "Hey, I'm going to go with I want a woman, but I want a woman, but I also want a progressive. So I'm going to go with Elizabeth Warren." Some people said, "I want a woman, but I don't want a progressive, so I'm going to go with Amy Klobuchar." Some people said, "Hey, we got this young upstart guy who sounds like Barack Obama. I like that guy. He's kind of cool, so I'm going to go with Mayor Pete." Weak field, okay? If the establishment had spent the last 3 years building up Pete Buttigieg's resume, taking care of all the little issues that he's got going on in his community, building up his support in the black community, he could have skated away with this election. Could have easily. He could have easily won this thing. Problem is, they thought Joe Biden was in a better mental state than he obviously is right now. And as a result, it's just all over the place. People just aren't really feeling comfortable. Bloomberg jumps in. People laugh that off. I'm looking at these people like, what are you talking about? Why would you want a guy who has multiple billions of dollars to join into this race when he's going to 1, make ads more expensive. 2, take up screen time. 3, prove that money can literally buy votes, which he did. At least it bought him polling. And if it wasn't for Elizabeth Warren, I mean, we might be looking at Bloomberg as the nominee because, I've said the debates don't matter that much. There are a few things that you can do, but Elizabeth Warren happened to be really good at doing one of those few things, and that is having a moment that people don't forget. And she absolutely did that to Mayor Bloomberg, and it was over for him after that. After that, it was over. So coming into this thing, it was always, I know people are giving was it James Clyburn they're giving him a lot of credit for the African American vote in South Carolina, but listen, there was always overwhelming support for Joe Biden and the African American community this whole time. None of what we're seeing is really unexpected. Yeah, we weren't expecting Joe Biden to fall so dramatically the first couple of rounds. We thought he wouldn't perform well, but as far as what Joe Biden is doing right, that's it. We expect him to do well in South Carolina. We expect him to do well in the South. This is Bernie's failure. This is Bernie's failure to bring in people who are reliable, older voters. I said the same thing about Andrew Yang. I have been consistent. I criticized Andrew Yang for not going for the black vote. I criticized him for not going for the older vote. And that ultimately is what cost him because he was competing with Bernie Sanders, who dominates the young vote. So there is nothing really here that's surprising me except for the speed in which things happen. If Joe Biden or if Klobuchar and Mayor Pete drop in January, this is very clear from a mile away. Let's try to be fair with, and yes, and I'm not making this video to be a jerk. I really do commend the progressive movement on making progress. They really did get a lot done. They've done some impressive things, but I think they overplayed their hand. There was a young man who used to come into my comment section representing the ADOS movement, and he used to say things, and I would let him remind him, look, listen, I understand that you feel like you're part of a group and you guys feel like you're doing something, but listen, you're overplaying your hand. And that's what progressives did. Just 2 weeks ago, Bernie Sanders was tweeting, they can't stop us. They didn't have to. The American people stopped you. Last night, the American people stopped Bernie Sanders. He had his same electorate was there for him, except for a lot of them didn't show up. But, whatever. He dominated with the youth vote. But that was all he had. And that's why he'll be going home very soon. So he came out this morning. He said he's not going to be dropping out. Fine, whatever. Stick around. I told y'all I could never support Bernie Sanders. He's weak. He is weak. He showed me that he's weak. You can't fight a revolution. I mean, after he got cheated last time, for me, my revolution would have ended as far as running in the Democratic Party then. There's no reason for me to return after I saw the way the DNC colluded with the Hillary Clinton campaign to make sure Bernie Sanders didn't win the nomination. Bernie didn't put his chest out. He didn't go to the people and say, hey, they're cheating. He fell right in line. That's not a revolutionary to me. So for me to believe that he was going to go and fight the oil industry and the war machine, and he's going to fight big tobacco and the healthcare industry, like that guy, the guy who won't stick up for his friends, the guy who wouldn't stick up for Tulsi Gabbard, the guy who won't stick up for anybody. No, not him. Is this your king? So that's it. That's on him. All right. So I don't want to hear, and mainly what I want people to get, and the reason why I've been consistent with my messages, I don't want progressives to get this idea that Bernie Sanders was cheated out of the nomination. He was not. He legitimately had a shot. His message did not resonate the way he thought it did. He didn't have this increased voter turnout, which was his plan, not mine. I didn't tell him to rely on unreliable people to vote for him. That was his decision. So be it. He didn't change his messaging to match the people who were available. He didn't go out into the African American community to try to shore up that vote. He didn't reach out to older voters. He just doubled down on what he had been doing. Actually, he got a little bit more, I don't want to say extreme. He went a little bit further left this time. You know what I mean? He really doubled down on immigration types reform, and he tried to use that to solidify the Latino vote, and he did. I won't say solidify, but he did better with that. But it's not a winning strategy. So, whatever. All that aside, last night, if you were watching along, the internet went a little bit crazy when my guy and yours, Andrew Yang, decided to rally around the eventual nominee. His name is Joe Biden. And this, again, no surprise whatsoever. Of course he's going to rally around Joe Biden because Joe Biden is going to win. He told you from the very beginning that if somebody is going to support my ideas, then that would go a long way in getting me to endorse them. Didn't say that means I'll definitely endorse them. He just said it would go a long way. And this thing is pretty much over. You know, for the last couple of weeks, CNN has asked him every chance he was on. He never gave any indication that he would support anybody. In fact, he's made a couple of statements that made me pretty sure that if he had to choose, he would have chosen Joe Biden over Andrew Yang or over Bernie Sanders in the first place. Because just going back to the question of, that last debate where they had all the candidates raise their hand and they said, "Hey, who should win if you have a plurality or not a majority of the delegates? What should happen? Should we go into the convention and let the process play out, or should we give it to whoever has the majority?" And all but Bernie Sanders, who actually has a majority, obviously, said we should give it to whoever, or we should let the process play out. Andrew Yang aligned with those people in his position when he said we should let the process play out, which to me signaled, well, obviously, if he supported Bernie Sanders, then he would just say whoever has the majority. But he didn't. Not to mention, consistently, Andrew Yang has said he feels like he is most aligned with Joe Biden. He says that he talked to Joe Biden early on about he didn't say about a VP slot, but the VP question came up in some form or fashion with Andrew Yang. I guess they said, would you be open to being a VP for Joe Biden? Never a question about would you be open for VP with Andrew Yang or with Bernie Sanders. And even last week, or maybe earlier this week, he was asked about some other question along the lines of would you consider being VP for Biden? And Yang put in there, hey, I do well with younger voters. Younger voters is a demographic that he would probably need to ensure that he can actually get the votes he needs to win. And I know he's made similar statements like that before, but this time when he interjected the part about the youth vote, that seemed very specific to me. Now, I know he's got things going on. He's talked about, he's obviously started Humanity Forward, and he's going forward with that. And even the mayoral thing is still a question. But that to me seemed a little bit aggressive for somebody casually mentioning that they're open to the idea of considering a VP slot because it's a serious position. It sounds a little bit more like, hey, Joe, just throwing it out there. You might want to holler at your boy if you're looking for somebody. So all that aside, not surprised in the least that Andrew Yang endorsed Biden. Again, he said he would support the winner. Biden's the winner. He has consistently said that he is a capitalist, and some people are name calling Andrew Yang, calling him a capitalist. I made a video quite a while ago. I said I called the most important interview that Andrew Yang had done at the time. I think it was a CBS This Morning, an interview with some guy named Harwood. I can't remember his first name. And the guy said, who do you blame for capitalism or for our society as it exists today? Is it bankers or whatever? And Yang just said, no, this is capitalism functioning as it should. These are people doing their job, and this is the system that we live in today. What we need to do is redefine our capitalism to a more human-centered approach so we can get different results. This is what he wanted. He says, I'm a capitalist. Capitalism is great at innovation and providing solutions and all types of wonderful things. The problem is that our capitalism has actually run amok, and right now it's a little bit out of control, but it is designed, or what's happening right now is the perfect storm of what capitalism should be. It's just not benefiting most people, most people. It's benefiting a small group at the top, and so on and so forth. But I call that an incredibly significant interview because he really differentiated himself with Bernie Sanders in that particular moment. And, he and Bernie Sanders had not gotten into it, but they had a little a moment over UBI and how is that better than a federal jobs guarantee. And it's just like, if you, and I've said a million times, I don't know why people think he's a progressive. Like, just because these progressive outlets picked him up, doesn't mean he's a progressive. They were looking at Andrew Yang for clicks, and they took advantage of that. And one second. They took advantage of Andrew Yang's name for the clicks. Fine. But once Yang made his statement about Medicare for all that people disagreed with, and they felt like he was getting a little bit too close to starting to pull some of those young voters off, they backed away. And you saw a complete change in the way that the progressive left media was covering Andrew Yang. In fact, they pretty much erased him the way the mainstream media did. So I'm just saying all of this to say it really does surprise me that people are surprised. Like, it really surprises me that people are surprised that Andrew Yang is rallying behind Joe Biden. Like, what's most impressive to me is that Andrew Yang, in this short period of time, I mean, when I say short period of time, I know we all know Andrew Yang now, but I believe the Joe Rogan interview, because that's really the moment that really put this campaign on mainstream. That moment, from then to now, is less than a year. And in that time period, Andrew Yang went from nobody, relative obscurity, a guy with some ideas who knew some people, operating his campaign out of his Google phone book, to bringing in, almost $15 million in the fourth quarter, political commentator, and now someone who is giving a respected endorsement of the front runner a year ago. That is incredibly impressive. And as never called myself a progressive, never called myself far left. I'm part-time Republican, more moderate than you might like to appreciate. But for him to do all of that in this period of time, he has established himself in less than a year as a real force in the Democratic Party. And he is on the path to be able to make big structural change in a way that people can actually accept. That was the failure of the progressive left. They never got overwhelming support of the Democratic electorate. They got some people, they got a specific group, but they couldn't get that middle ground. And Andrew Yang is on the path to actually be able to deliver that, which ultimately will mean he'll be able to be the one who is dictating, not only be able to dictate the conversation and move the Overton window, he'll actually be able to get stuff done. And the fact that he has that Humanity Forward nonprofit where he's actually able to go out and start implementing these ideas on his own dime, or using money that people invested because they believe in him. Do you realize how powerful this guy is about to become? So he's working within the confines of the system as it exists. That's what I want. I want a guy who's not trying to burn it down, because what's going to happen is when you do that, not only is your party going to rally against you, but the other party will too. They're not going to, if you go watch Fox News, I watch a lot of Fox News lately. They've been giving Bernie some credit. They don't want Bernie to win either. I mean, they're still happy that he's losing, but they're glad to throw the mainstream media, the liberal media, the CNNs, the MSNBCs under the table or under the bus for their treatment of Bernie Sanders. They don't like him though. It's just for ratings. It's just for fun. They're just laughing, man. This is all entertainment for them. So. And don't think that my statements mean that I'm supporting Joe Biden. I've been saying the whole time, they're all losers. They're all losers, all right? they are all a joke to me. Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Like who? I told y'all I was rocking with Klobuchar. You know what I mean? Like that's where we are. So I don't, if I'm saying something that surprises you, you have not been paying attention. I criticized Andrew Yang the whole time, and I think probably some people stopped watching my video. My view counts are down. That's fine. I got to be honest with myself. I'm not gonna say things just because I want you guys to watch my videos. Like I have my I respect my opinion. I want you people to respect my opinion. I want to be able to look back and say, well, I was consistent, and I feel like I've been fairly consistent, and that's why none of this is surprising me. I did hear that possibly Amy Klobuchar might actually have been asked about the VP position. I can't confirm that. Just people talking, but no, man, this is a big time win for Andrew Yang. This is a huge win for Andrew Yang. He finessed his whole party from nobody to who do we go to for the final endorsement for Joe Biden to end this Bernie Sanders campaign? Let's go to Andrew Yang. Like what? Andrew Yang? Who was checking for Andrew Yang? How many times were people saying, Andrew Yang, you got to drop out, man. You got to drop out because you're making it hard for us. Andrew Yang is doing 7% nationally. What are you worried about him for? If you can win, then just win. You don't need the people who are supporting Andrew Yang, who are across the spectrum. But I criticized Andrew Yang for the same things. I said, Andrew Yang, you get into that black community. I don't know what you're doing. I know you don't know no black people. That's fine. I'm not mad at you for not knowing black people. I need you to go find some to go work on your behalf. I need you to come up with some ideas that speak to the black community. I need you to go be present in the black community. I said that, all of that. I said all of that. So, whatever, man. My bad. I've been ranting. I haven't been reading the comments as aggressively as I usually do. Yeah, and NLM, I'm glad you said that. Also, I'm black, okay? So my opinion is probably way more cynical than many of you. Some of you guys are first time getting into politics. You're just now interested in the process. This is exciting to you. I've been black all my life. These politicians typically don't do anything that helps out my community. Do individual black people do well under certain administrations? Absolutely. But I'm talking about like a whole solution for a whole community. They kind of let the black community down. So I expect very little. So when Bernie Sanders is making recommendations that this is going to be a thing for the whole of humanity or the whole of whoever, I look at it with a side eye. Same thing I said about Andrew Yang, side eye. I still feel like UBI was a great I still feel like UBI was something because it was a tangible thing that he was actually putting into people's hands, and that's better than most politicians ever do. So I was willing to accept it, but when he would be asked questions like, hey, does this solve the racial wealth gap? No. How could it possibly solve a gap by putting the same thing equally across the country? That's ridiculous. But I'm going to take what I can get. You're not getting that same kind of support. I don't see no color. I appreciate you, Chris. But listen, I will take what I can get. So I was never mad. All right. I was never mad. I said, you know what? All right. But I'm also not somebody who is ridiculous enough to think that running on reparations was a winning policy. Right? And I made a video and I said, Andrew Yang, you don't have to go for the black vote. That's fine. Who are you going to get, though? Fine. You don't need the black vote? Fine. Go get the Latino vote. Go get the working class white vote. Go get the older vote. Like, you need to find you a group of people who are going to support you no matter what. You don't have that. You're not going to be able to peel off 7% of this group, 4% of that group, 8% of that group, 9% of that, and that's going to be a winning. No. That's not a winning strategy. I don't even do politics, and I know that, okay? 9 out of 10 black people, I don't know where this has come from, but this is a legit thing. 9 out of 10 black people who vote Democratic. They are the most reliable demographic available in America. So, fine, you don't want to go after that group that is reliable? Okay. go get you one. All right? So, Andrew, I just said that he didn't go for election. Andrew Yang didn't go for any specific vote, and that was one of his downfalls. He tried to go with, I have the best ideas, and therefore I can get enough of people from every little group to form a coalition to win. I said that's not a winning formula. In fact, I made a video saying, it's easier for Andrew Yang to win the general than it is to win the Democratic primary because of the ideas that are in the Democratic field. He probably should run as a Republican. Bernie knows he needs to have friends if he can win the nomination. Bernie should have spent the last 4 years making friends. He didn't. He didn't make friends. Biden believes in the dignity of work. Yang should be ashamed for endorsing that. Well, look, we know that Andrew Yang doesn't believe in the dignity of work. Andrew Yang believes in the definition of economic value, or believes the redefinition of value to our society. That we saw when Biden got caught up talking about retraining coal miners. I did a whole video on it talking about Biden saying if you can go down into a mine, then you can code. And it was just like, what are you talking about? Andrew Yang specifically said that's a ridiculous statement years ago. So for Biden to even make those words formulate in his mind and come out of his mouth in late 2019 was kind of ridiculous. But he did, and Andrew Yang crushed that. But at the same time, you have to understand that Yang has changed the entire conversation from a place where he was nobody, unknown, not familiar to most people, to a thought leader, to a commentator who people are very familiar with because they've seen him now probably multiple times in the last few weeks, to a person whose endorsement is making some people feel at ease. That man has gone very far in a very short period of time. So if you can't respect that, your whole perspective is whack. Trust me, this is a good thing for Andrew Yang. He got to play the game. He's not running a revolution. He's trying to fix our system as it exists. He says he wants to fix capitalism. He doesn't want to destroy it. And if you want to fix it, then you have to be a part of the system. And that's exactly what he's doing. Don't touch your face, Corona. Oh, boy. Yang is taking VP with Biden. No, he's not going to be VP. He's not going to be VP. I don't need Yang to be VP. I need Yang to be on TV. I need Yang to be on TV. I don't need him to be... VP would be cool because it's office, but it doesn't, there's no visibility to it. So that would be okay. But, I kind of don't want him to be... what are the ones at 1.5? I don't want him to be... mayor. I don't want him to be in a position where he can have negatives happen. VP is protected. You don't think Warren liked Bernie very much after Bernie called her a liar in the debate? Well, what was he supposed to do? Defend himself? Like a revolutionary? You support Andrew Yang, but you're not voting for him? Well, you don't have to because he's no longer in the election. Oh, who you guys going to support? One for Yang, two for no? I think he's making a huge impact on the discussion we're seeing. Exactly. You got to remember, Yang is making inroads with that demo that he never got. Yang wasn't touching no 50-year-olds, okay? I've been to an Andrew Yang rally. Not a lot of 50-year-olds. Are there people online? Sure. But the majority of Americans don't know who Andrew Yang is. That was a problem. He's working on that. And in the next 3 years, if he keeps getting those random phone calls to ask him about this thing that the president did and let's get his opinion, let's go to Andrew Yang and see what he thinks. When that keeps happening, well, now he's a household name. Now we've already seen an Asian man run for president. So when he wants to come back the next time, and now he has data from running humanity forward for 4 years, he's in a much better position. And he's a young guy. So it's bad visibility for Yang. It's only bad to you. It's not bad to the 50 to 64. Joe Biden is winning. That means the majority of the people who are Democrats who actually vote agree that Joe Biden is the best person to represent the Democrats against Donald Trump. So how could him supporting the winner be a bad look for him? Like, that's kind of ridiculous, right? Come on, man. Come on. You got to be realistic. If you're supporting the winner, that's where you want to be. You want to be supporting the winner. You don't want to be supporting the loser. I like VP or cabinet, even if it loses to Trump. And even in his statement last night, I only heard it once, but it sounded like he was setting up all of the candidates for a position in the administration or in the Biden administration. And look, I don't even think that Biden is gonna win. Read the comment before that. Will do. Give me a second. Yeah, I don't even think Biden's gonna win. So really, I don't think this is gonna matter. Like, Corona is probably the big thing that's gonna determine if Donald Trump wins re-election. So even if he doesn't win, great. Andrew Yang stepped in at the right moment, said the right thing to the right people, so people are going to remember Andrew Yang was the one who gave that endorsement. He lost, whatever, but Andrew Yang is a true Democrat. Andrew Yang, was there at that moment. That matters too. And if Biden wins, great. Then you endorse the person who went on to become president. Now he's your friend, and you got some favors. Like, it's a win either way around, man. Yang is kissing a lot of ass. Hey, Yang's playing the game. He can't win without Yang. Come on, let's not be crazy. Let's not get listen. I was with you. Let's not get rambunctious in here. All right, the comment before that. Let's see. Will he have accept the VP position before the general? Biden would probably lose to Trump. Yeah. You're right. Okay, JT. I see you, my guy. Yes, you guys are all agreed. Yeah. If Trump implements UBI, does he win? Purple Haze, what's up, man? What's going on? I feel like we were there, but like you drifting off on me right now. UBI, Trump ain't support. Why would he endorse UBI? Biden wins either way. Biden is in trouble. Okay, Biden is in a scary situation right now. Corona is like, it's kind of crazy to even say this. Biden is hoping that Corona wipes out some small group of the American population. Otherwise, it's not going to be good. Because if Donald Trump is able to just focus on Joe Biden for like multiple debates, it is not going to be pretty. Like, it's going to be, you ever see like those World Star fights where it's clear that it's not really a fair match, but the one guy is just still going? It's going to be like that. Like, it's going to be very, very ugly. So, yeah, I mean, if I was a lefty, I wouldn't be going on about Joe Biden's cognitive decline and be losing to him. That seems a little bit ridiculous, right? Biden legit has to be. This election's gonna go down in history. Oh yeah. I'm gonna still make another video where I'm gonna go through like the numbers and stuff like that. But this is just like the fun, laid back version of the video. But man, I'm not surprised with anything here. I want Biden to win so badly to stick it to Sanders. No, I want Bernie Sanders to win because I want to be done with this. Like, I want to be done with this so bad because I don't want these people complaining that, the establishment, man, they screwed me over, man. This is ridiculous. We're gonna fight even harder next year, man. No. Don't do that. Don't blame the establishment. Don't blame the mainstream media. Look at the majority of people voting against your ideas. That's what I want you to focus on, and figure out how you can meet those people in the middle so that you can actually, get a majority of the support next time. Because it's not their fault that people don't like your ideas. Biden may break out line about. You think the virus will affect voter turnout? I don't think it'll affect voter turn. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess it will maybe increase it if people don't like the way it's handled. But older people are probably freaking out, right? Coronavirus is like it. Older people are more susceptible to it, so it is now, I guess, officially a pandemic. Don't get me lying. I don't work for the CDC. I don't know what those numbers actually mean. All I know is enough people have been affected, so people are freaking out a little bit more. I saw Coachella got canceled. Not Coachella. South by Southwest got canceled. I see LA or California or somewhere is on lockdown. I see Italy's on lockdown. Like, okay, if that keeps happening and the Trump administration keeps trying to make it seem like it's not a big deal, that might ultimately sink Donald Trump because people don't feel safe literally from a virus, which is probably scarier than terrorism. So that would be that would be kind of crazy, but that could end Donald Trump. But if and also it's destroying the stock market right now, right? So if that remains steady and it goes away and we go back to business as usual, Biden's in trouble. Like, oh, Coachella's postponed too? Okay, well, there you go. Biden accidentally endorsed Trump. Well, listen. One of my favorite things about Joe Biden is he's not going to beg you for your vote. Okay, Joe Biden will tell you straight up, go vote for the other guy. I love that about him. That's the kind of guy I would be if I was running for president. I'm not going to sit here and pander to you. Look, you got some attacks on me. You don't like me. I'm not going to sit here and try to justify why you should vote for me. You're not voting for me anyway. Go vote for the other guy. I got business to go handle over here. They changed the rules to exclude Tulsi. Y'all, I feel like I can get an interview with Tulsi. If anybody is plugged in, if you can get Tulsi out here. I see her making the rounds on Fox News. She's on Fox routinely. I feel like I can get an interview with her, man. But let's reach out. Let's get Tulsi in here. I'd love to have a conversation with her. I feel like she's honest, and it would be a really great conversation. And I think she'd help open up a lot of people's eyes. I mean, hell, I'd like to help her reach some new people. All 15 people who see the video. Yang did the math. He saw Biden's numbers. Yeah, my YouTube feed slowed down last night. The progressive media had been pushing out video after video the last couple of days. Biden, cognitive decline. Biden is a loser. Biden doesn't have a chance. Biden this, Biden that, Biden this, Biden that. About 9 o'clock last night, nothing. Just silence. So, still waiting for all the progressive videos to start dropping about last night. And again, I don't mean to be a jerk, man. Listen, I'm trying not to enjoy this, but like, I just want y'all to bring it back a little bit. Like, we can work together. Come join Aaron's new moderate movement. Like, we can get things done. We can have friends. People will like us. We can hang out in the wine cave every once in a while. I feel like it's the way to be. If you need to take some money from a corporation or two, you can hook up your friends and not feel bad about it. Like, there's a way to do this where everybody wins. You improve society. You get better outcomes. We take care of healthcare. We keep taxes fair. Maybe we even get a little bit from the big corporations that are propping up this economy. But let's not vilify people. You know what I mean? People are just people. They're just doing what they're supposed to do to take care of their family. They're just trying to take care of their family, man. You know what I mean? You've seen Joe Biden. I didn't even talk about this, but Joe Biden's, his brother-in-law in bed with some oil company, and that's going to be a thing now. It's just like, Biden, you sloppy, bro. You are sloppy. If Hillary's VP, Biden will last year before. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I got to go pick up my kid from school. I would love to hang out with you guys. I'm glad we had this conversation. This is very cathartic for me. Listen, Bernie supporters, I love you. I am not mad at you. You can come on home. I won't hold this against you. We can still get some things done. I'm not asking you to vote for Joe Biden. Hell, you can vote for Donald Trump. I don't care. Listen, I'm black. I wasn't feeling like I was going to get anything anyway, right? So I'm not going to guilt you into voting for any particular party. All I know is that next time around, maybe y'all might want to spend, if you're going to do your little progressive left thing and you're going to do the dim exit or dim, whatever you call it, you're going to leave the Democratic Party, fine. You just make sure you stop by the black community. Otherwise, you'll continue to be doomed because your movement doesn't really include black people anyway. You know what I mean? Like, you really don't. I mean, you got some people, that's cool, but you're not really trying. But I don't even care. I don't even care. But I'm just saying, if you want to win, if you want to just make noise, that's fine. But if you want to win, you gotta talk to people, man. Even people who don't look like you. Ooh. You're a dad? Yes, I'm a dad. I look 19. Wow, I'm almost 2 times older than that. Hillary is irrelevant. Hey, man, I see Hillary got that new Netflix. I don't know what she's thinking. He does not look 19 yet, for real. Yeah, Hillary got that new Netflix, man, or the new Hulu. I don't know. Whew. Hillary, no. And Andrew Yang is not literally anti-establishment. Andrew Yang is totally establishment. Sign the petitions, contest on Twitter to get us an emergency UBI for the nation. Okay. All right. I'll look into that. All right, y'all. I got to go handle my business. I appreciate you guys for coming through. You guys have an amazing day. And, consider your options. Like, if Trump calls you, let's have a conversation. I'm down.